gonna say shaft way too many times in this video. So did you know there are two main types of crochet hook? Yeah, I didn't either for a very long time, and whew, you buy the wrong one and all of a sudden you feel like you're back to being a beginner. So there are tapered hooks and there are inline. So what's the difference? So let's look at this inline hook. I don't have many in my collection, so I'm using a long hook to explain it. So, as you can see, the throat of the crochet hook is very drastically cut in from the shaft of the hook. And the hook itself does not break the plane of the shaft. It does not come up over the plane of the shaft. So the hook is in line with the shaft. Now let's compare that to its equivalent size, a tapered hook. So as you can see, between the shaft and the hook, the throat is much more tapered. It's not a drastic cut. And the hook itself comes up over the plane of the shaft. So it's much more rounded, less severe. So let's look at them together. So these are different size hooks. So that's why the millimeters are different. Like the diameter is different, but yeah, you can really see a difference in the way the hook is. The tapered hook is slightly more pointy. This is more rounded. This is a much smoother transition. This is a drastic transition. Okay, so now that we can see the difference between an inline hook and a tapered hook, what brands should you be looking for if you know you prefer one to the other? Well, the standard tapered hook you'll find out in the wild is a Boye hook, B-O-Y-E. Also, a lot of clover hooks and tulip hooks are either tapered or tapered-like. A standard for inline would be Susan Bates, and I only have one Susan Bates hook in a very tiny version. The Susan Bates logo looks like that. So if you're crocheting with a Boye hook, you are crocheting with an tapered hook, and if you're crocheting with a Susan Bates, you have an inline. Also, if you happen to find a hero hook, those are also tapered. Have a few here. These are antiques. Ooh, come on, you can focus. Yeah, hero hooks are also. So as you can see, I have a lot of different kinds of hooks. Like, do the colors mean anything? Absolutely not. That is 100% aesthetic. It is whatever color aluminum they decided to pull from. Most of my hooks on this side are aluminum. These are plastic. And you'll see I have some that have grips to them, and that's because I have weird hands that have grip issues. Some don't. The ones that you'll probably start with will not, but if you're enjoying it, I'd recommend getting a gripped hook faster. So as you can see, some of these crochet hooks have letters, some have numbers. What do these things mean? Well, in the US, we use both letters and numbers. In the rest of the world, it's just millimeters because metric. One day, maybe. Anyway, so the letters are the diameter of the hook. So the difference between a 3.75 millimeter hook and a 6.5 millimeter hook. You can see one is much smaller in diameter than the other. Now these diameters, theoretically, if you are crocheting with the proper tension, are the size of your stitch. They are the diameter of your stitch if you're using the correct yarn weight and hook. Now you can see for me, I like the grips that start right at the handhold. There are some grips that go much further up. This Boye N hook, N size hook. Ooh, come on. He's a big boy, and the grip actually starts above the handhold of the thing. You can also see there are some big hooks, little hooks. I've got some plastic hooks here. I've got some big boys. These are inline. I don't use them very often, but I don't honestly know what gauge these are. These are just big. So you can get hooks from very big to very small. You can also get really long hooks. These are called Tunisian or blanket crochet hooks, Afghan crochet hooks. They're for a very specific type of crochet that we will not be getting into here. Just know that if you see something out there that looks like a knitting needle and a crochet hook had a love child, it did, and it's called Tunisian crochet. And then there are other hooks. There's some that do really cool things like light up. I use this hook when I'm using very dark yarn and I'm crocheting at night and don't feel like turning on all of my overhead lights. I have some hooks here that, like I said, don't have any grips, and then these are my favorite. They're my tulip hooks. They're harder to find, but I'll link down below. A friend of mine recently found a store that's selling them. These are my favorite hooks. Now, these are referred to as, like, these are what generally people think of when they think of crochet hooks. But there are, and when people refer to aluminum hooks. But there are also things known as steel hooks. These are some of the only hooks in the US that are referred to by number. If someone is asking for a 10, they mean this. Look how tiny that is. These are meant for lace. And again, we're dealing with a tapered hook. The Susan Bates is a 9. Come on. The smaller the number, the smaller the hook. So from top to bottom, we have 8, 9, and 10. I need to get grips for these guys. I want to play around with lace. But yeah, those are the basic crochet hooks. So the main takeaway is that even though they're different sizes and materials and types, it's not that confusing once you get down to it. And the main thing is to keep trying and keep crocheting. In some of my next videos, I'm going to show you how to take some basic stitches and make something from it. And then I'll be adding some more advanced things, but leave a comment down below of what team you are. Are you team tapered or team inline? Yes, thank you for drinking water right as I started recording. Unbiased, I use tapered. Sorry. Blah, 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 blah. So, yeah, some appa time. The grips generally stop me from going too far down the shaft. I'm gonna say shaft way too many times in this video. So yeah, they're tiny. Look at them, so tiny. Okay. Getting those comments, YouTube. Woo! Okay, let's see if I'm even in frame.